grandmother was right. The boogeyman was real.
It's over. We can't hurt anyone ever again.
No one told you.
Told me what?
Somebody in there?
Michael Myers is alive.
Stop! You had a knife in your stomach.
You and Allison should not have to keep running. Evil dies tonight.
Hello, welcome to this What Do You Want to Watch Spoilercast for the sequel to the third Halloween film called Halloween Kills. I'm Ashley Hobley, joining me today, Radio Watson's Buddy Watson.
Man, that just wrinkled my brain then when you said the third sequel to the movie called Halloween, and I'm just looking at the timeline right now and how all the timelines like pan out, the three different timelines, the two like the standalone that didn't feature Michael Myers, the standalone one with Rob Zombie with the first one and second one. Oh man, wow.
Yep. So I recorded Halloween 2018 Spoilercast with Dylan earlier in the week. Used the same joke. Joke opening. But me and Buddy, we got to go see an advanced screening of Halloween Kills thanks to Universal Pictures in Australia. So we'll be discussing that. Obviously out today at day of podcast released. So yeah, if you haven't seen Halloween Kills, please we will freely be discussing anything and everything about the plot themes and ending of that film. So go watch it. Come back later. Let's jump into our discussion of the movie, Halloween Kills, directed by David Gordon Green, written by Scott Teems, Danny McBride, David Gordon Green, based on characters by John Carpenter and Debra Hill, starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, Andi Matichak, Will Patton, Thomas Mann, Anthony Michael Hall, and Kyle Richards. Minutes after Laurie Strode and her daughter Karen and granddaughter Allison left her masked monster Michael Myers caged and burning in Laurie's basement, Laurie is rushed to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, believing she finally killed her lifelong tormentor. But when Michael manages to free herself from Laurie's trap, his ritual bloodbath resumes. As Laurie fights her pain and prepares to defend herself against him, she inspires all of Haddonfield to rise up against their unstoppable monster. Buddy, what's your history with the Halloween franchise? You did like a pretty solid binge before we went and saw the movie, right?
Yeah, I did actually. I love the Halloween movies. I love Michael Myers as a character. When you think horror and conventional mainstream horror, I guess you think the big three with Jason, Freddy, and Michael being the horror icons, and slashers kind of being at the forefront of horror outside of all the other kind of psychological stuff. So I love slashers. They're my favorite. Michael's probably one of my favorite, I guess, characters per se. Like I appreciate Jason and his kind of legacy, but as far as like movies go, I think I prefer Michael as a character, and just that whole kind of the stalkerish nature. I love stalker type horror films and slashers. So the franchise, I'd seen the majority of them. I don't think I've seen 5 and 6, and in my rewatch when I was going along, I wasn't going to waste my time with 5 or 6 knowing it wasn't on the same timeline as this. And the first one is just fantastic and it's amazing. And even on rewatch, I think it holds up. It can be, I guess you've seen it for the first time recently.
I've seen it for the first time. Yeah, it's kind of slow.
It is slow, but I love that deliberate pacing, and it can almost be considered a little bit too campy if you're watching it from today's lens because of at the start how Michael kind of pops up out of nowhere, stalking them, the three girls, and
Buddy, he's just standing in the street.
Exactly,
it's not that scary.
Yeah, but the I don't know about you, but the moment the script flipped for me was with that first kill when the first babysitter, I can't remember her name, but she walks in to kind of drive off, and she notices the car's unlocked. Then she walks back to get the keys, and then she walks back in, and then the car's open. That is like goosebump type moment. That was the moment, like it kind of turns for me the whole movie. I think that's my favorite moment in Halloween 1. So I love the franchise for the most part. So I guess we'll kind of get into that soon.
So how did you feel about 2018's?
2018, when I first saw it in the movies, I was kind of a bit lukewarm on it, but since watching it in the rewatch, I probably appreciate it more so now, especially watching all the other Halloweens in a row. I think the things that I didn't like at the time were Michael's doctor or person who was in care of him at that time kind of turning on the police and then freeing him. That was really a bizarre move that kind of like was the one big thing that was like, why was that a thing? Why did that happen? And a few other stuff kind of that irked me. I can't even really remember now, but they obviously didn't in the rewatch, and I kind of appreciate it more for what it was. So it was probably a lot better watching it for the second time, outside of my first experience in 2018. So I really enjoyed it.
Interesting. Yeah. I think I said I liked 2018 more. Obviously, it's a more modern film, but more fleshed out characters and that kind of stuff, and like it's more an action movie than a horror movie to a certain extent, with Laurie Strode going full Sarah Connor and that kind of stuff. So, let's jump into Halloween Kills. How'd you feel about Halloween Kills?
Not great, actually, and I think you just said it then. Like 2018, where it feels like more of an action movie. For me, it still had that kind of element of stalker and slowish pace. Like I said, the stalker and slashers that would have it without the obscenely high body count. Like if you were to compare it, I would look at 2018's Halloween as like Alien, maybe a little bit more faster pace, and then 2021's Halloween Kills as like Aliens, but without the quality. For me, it got a little bit absurd with the amount of kills. It became less of like tense jump scare moments or slow anticipation towards a kill, into outright just bloody massacring and multiple people at once instead of picking people off one by one, which is, I guess, my favorite element of horror film and Halloween and what Michaels does. So it got a little bit absurd for me. I didn't like it as much as Halloween 2018. So yeah. What about you? How did you feel, I guess, watching Halloween 2018 so soon?
I don't think it's as good as the first one. It feels, like you said, a little bit absurd. A little bit, it feels like a middle chapter of like, obviously we know Halloween Ends is coming next year, hopefully, assuming everything goes to plan. But yeah, it definitely feels like it was going to just for spectacle and, gore as much as possible. Anything else, like some of the kills are very visceral and that kind of stuff. But yeah, they also, I think at Focus was like, this very much feels like a legacy sequel, because obviously they brought back a lot of people from the franchise, or characters at least, not necessarily the actors playing them. They fleshed out the Hawkins character backstory, somehow building him up as somebody potentially important. And then, they played around, like, obviously last film they were going, oh, Laurie and Michael, they're meant to be together. And then, like, they're trying to cut that off this film. It's like, no, it's not meant to be a thing. Like Last Jedi, she's not, Rey's not anybody. And then in the next film movie, they're going to be connected in some way, I think. But, it just felt like a middle chapter more than anything else. It's like, just trying to keep us interested until, they get to the end point they want to get to. Not to say there weren't cool moments and, like, tense moments, but yeah, there was a lot more killing and a lot less explanations as to why he was targeting people to a certain extent, I think.
Yeah, and I kind of do like that in one degree where, this kind of timeline takes place after the OG Halloween in 78, then 18, and now this. So it kind of completely ignores Halloween 2, where that's the revelation of where Laurie is actually Michael's sister. So I guess in this timeline, and trying to forget all that other stuff that is now, air quotes, non-canon, I do like that there is no, like, attachment to Laurie as a whole, and that he's just kind of this psychopath that's just on a kind of a warpath, but then that kind of gives less weight, like you were saying before, like kind of to who he is killing and why is he killing all these people. There still kind of needs to be some kind of target or reason. Like, it's just, I guess it was all just to get to his home for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is this entire movie, he was just going from Laurie's place that he got burnt in to his childhood home. And I guess he was just murdering everybody he could on the way because, why not? He's a little bit of a troll when you think about it,
Because it was only when they do touch on it as he only goes to after Laurie when when Halloween 2018, once the doctor kind of takes him to Laurie's premises.
Yeah.
So
Laurie wants to believe that she's so very important, but she's not. Yeah. that's the gist of it. But yeah, I mean, towards the start, very visceral. How do you feel about how they resolved the ending of Halloween 2018. Obviously, he was in the trap. The house was burning down. I thought it was a solid. They gave themselves like a solid opening as to how they explained it away, where he's hiding in that gun closet.
Yeah, I actually liked it. And I've kind of been shitting on the movie for the last couple of minutes or so, but I think the start of it is actually it's like one of its really strong points. That's the thing I love about Halloween 2, 1981, the direct sequel to Halloween, that they do quite well, is that it takes place like almost immediately after the events of Halloween and in the same night. So this kind of does the same mold where it takes place straight
Actually
after.
Does both.
Yeah, it does.
It's a sequel to both the original and the 2018 one.
Yeah, so kind of pays homage to that in that way. And I don't mind the explanation of him kind of hiding in that little closet thing and being able to get out of the burning house. It's much easier to explain that than to instead of taking 20 gunshots to the face or something like that.
Not like how you explain the end of this movie.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the ending's a bit more absurd. And I also loved that they kind of had that throwback to 1978, and they were showing, like you said, fleshed out Hawkins' character and kind of recreated the events of that night, and kind of gave Hawkins a reason as to why he has kind of a little bit of regret or kind of guilt into why, how he could have stopped it, whatever it is now, 30, 40 plus years ago. So.
Yeah, I really did enjoy that opening with like Allison's boyfriend too. I probably was like, oh yeah, that's him from, because I only watched it like 2 days ago. It's like, yeah, they brought him back.
That was really good, because at the time I thought, oh my god, we're going to get something that's going to happening not just immediately after the events of 18 Halloween, but like you were saying, kind of like happening at the same time. So that was really cool.
Yeah. But then, it gets a little bit ridiculous with a lot of the older characters coming back, and like the B plot, is Anthony Michael Hall playing Tommy, the little boy that Laurie looked after in the original film, getting a mob together to try and kill Michael.
Yeah.
But not staying together, just going out in pairs, can't all be in one giant group, but you need to spread out to take out this massive monster that's been murdering a ton of people. I thought that was interesting, and like how easily he got all these people riled up, I feel like is very like maybe a little bit too on the nose, like getting the people like Evil Dies Tonight chanting in the hospital and then chasing down this other mentally ill person.
That's probably the
biggest in the hospital.
The biggest downer for me. It was like this kind of mob mentality, this kind of this spread of misinformation, and the theme of like just everyone getting together and not having the right info, and just wanting kind of getting carried away a little bit with what they were doing. That's where it really lost me. I could still towns kind of banding together to take out Michael. Like if you look at it, like. He's just had the killings that night, and then 30 years ago. If you ignore all the other stuff, it's not like Mike. Like he's done some fucked up shit and killed a lot of people, but I feel like the way they're reacting as if like the events of Halloween 2, Halloween 4, Halloween 5, Halloween 6, even H2O. Like they're acting like all of that is real. You know what I mean? It's like
he just pops out every Halloween.
Like he's a super soldier at this time, and it is a bit weird because. They get together and they kind of see, like, on the news report, all these firemen that have been taken down by this one guy. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll all band together. We're going to take him out. And he's got a baseball bat and stuff. It's like, this guy is
He killed, 6 firemen. Which, side point, why would you start up a chainsaw after you saw...
Nah, I would have ran.
Saw one of the other dudes get an axe to the face.
Yeah, he was like Michael is the immovable object. Like they're seeing the live destruction on the news reports. It's like nah, thanks. I don't want any part of this. So it got a bit crazy. It's a horror movie, but for me, like bringing back those characters is a nice touch. It's just how they were used and getting that kind of mob mentality in the town together. That's where it kind of lost me a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And Michael ends up murdering, I think, all of them. It's like, I think there's 1 or 2 left.
Yeah.
I think, Lindsay, the little girl, and then Laurie. I think that's it from the original film.
Yeah, I know. Wow. That would just go wasted.
Even the dad they introduced, who fell down in front of Michael in this film, died. But yeah, it's yeah. He kills a lot of people in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you feel about the kills in this film? Obviously, they're a bit over the top, but too much.
There's some creative kills. Like the two characters that I liked the most were Big John and Little John. They were quite cool.
How totally with the times that, you know, Michael Myers' house redecorated, refurnished by like a nice gay couple.
Yeah, it was great, and they're like no fear and stuff. And he had the cheese knife. That was cool. They were my favorite characters. They showed a lot of personality. But as far as like the kills, I was a bit sad how they kind of went out. I guess that's just because I'm rooting for them or cheering for them. But there was a lot of, for me, there was like in Halloween, the OG. I hate that I have to compare it so often, but this, I think it just displays what I like in horror and why this didn't work for me. The moment in that car in the first Halloween movies from 1978, when she goes back and it's unlocked and she walks in, the whole thing is the whole tension of knowing that the car was locked before and they're just going to get the keys. That's the moment of the kill, the 5 minutes or 2 to 3 minutes of her knowing it's locked, knowing that Michael's in the area, walking back, and she gets in and she's almost killed immediately, and it happens in like 5 seconds, maybe, and there's no blood, all right? It's just like, but it has so much impact. Whereas I find a lot of these kills that are like, you know, here's an axe to the face or a first person view of getting, you know, something stabbed into you, or a head constantly getting bashed into a stairwell or a wall, like not just once, twice, like it's like 5, 6, 7, 8 times, and then after that's done, something stabbed through the throat and blood like pissing out. Like that just, I don't know, that's just gratuitous. It gets to a point where it's too gratuitous for me.
Yeah, there was the kills with the like elderly couple in
Yeah.
their house with the drone, and he's already killed the dude.
He's like,
And then he goes and like puts a bunch of knives in it. It's like that, from my understanding, that's like very un-Michael-like
yeah,
to like mutilate the body afterwards. You know, he's a troll. He like sets him up in like gruesome ways, but not.
And then Cameron at the end when he like does the neck snap.
I mean, that was pretty, you know.
But that was just
That was pretty
like
brutal.
that was like in your face, type.
Yeah, a little bit.
Type taunting type thing. I'm like, that was more of a humane thing to do, kill him,
That was
even though
pretty
you
nice,
might
you
have
know?
been coaxing Allison on. Maybe you should just let him be there and suffer if he is somewhat alive.
But no, yeah, that snap was pretty brutal.
Yeah, and then towards the end, all the killing with, you know, when it looks like he's cornered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It just.
I mean, he had to get out of it somehow.
Well, how did you make it? What do you feel about the killings?
It definitely feels, again, like it's a modern thing where, you know, because we had that era of, like, bloody, gory films, like, I'm sure, like, the torture porn or most elements. I think they're just trying to make it as gory as possible. You know, especially, you think one of the most gruesome effects was, like, the dead mentalist patient, like, remains on the ground after he falls out.
They didn't need to show that.
It was unnecessary, but yeah, it was pretty. I think it was the 2018 one where someone's like he full on steps on through somebody's head.
Yeah, I hate skull crushing kills. They're one of my things. I hate. I just remember seeing the movie The Relic. I think it's from the 80s or something. And when they all get trapped in the museum, it's a possession, and all the doors get locked, and just everyone tries to rush the exit, and one of them hits like the glass door, and everyone hits her after it, and she just like splats like against it. It's just like this stuff I hate, and I sound like someone that's like a prude and like, oh, I just don't like all the blood and gore. I don't like. I love horror, but I just like the less is more type stuff, and what's not shown as I like tension and how that's built up. And you know, one of my favorite movies is the Evil Dead remake, where it's just like a fucking bloodbath, and there's mutilations and self-mutilations, and it can be vile, but like I don't know, sometimes it just works and sometimes it doesn't work. And for me, it was like, you know, this is a slasher, this is a stalker, this is Michael, not like Michael's gonna stand into a circle pit and fucking Fight Club his way out of everyone.
Yeah, it definitely feels like he's a bit too overpowered in this one. The other thing is, you know, he got his hand chopped off kind of in the last film. That seemed to be completely unfazed, like, through this movie. So, you know, maybe in the next movie, and you just chop him up. You know, like the Black Knight. You know, that's the solution to everything. Obviously, Laurie was kind of sidelined in this one. When you look back at it, it's like they had that gruesome like operation scene. That was pretty tough to watch. Like cut from like sternum to to crotch and like cut open. But then, you know, she's just kind of in. This is where some of the less good acting, I think, is in this film. It's like everybody like theorizing what's going to happen, and like, I need to kill Michael, staring off into the distance, and Michael needs to die, someone else staring in the distance, and like theorizing is I've got to go kill him and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Laurie was very much sidelined, and I think obviously setting up for the next film, and that's another element that kind of like lowered my feelings about this film.
Same, yeah. I'm a big Laurie stan, and it's kind of hard to kind of judge how good this is now, knowing that like you said, the next one's coming, and could be a setup, and maybe the next one's going to be knock it way out of the park because of all the groundwork that they've done here. Like you said, like sidelining Laurie. I guess she just couldn't bounce back from the effects of being stabbed in the stomach or whatever, and they want it to happen, you know, all in one hit. So yeah, it was frustrating that they kind of set up the chief, just Hawkins with his backstory, and then kind of really did nothing outside of him like throwing a few lines to Laurie, and then Laurie being silent
and setting him up as a romantic interest.
Yeah.
So random.
Were they, or I don't know? It was just like, we're gonna, you know, obviously Halloween.
Okay, remember we made out that one time.
So it's gonna be like this, like
we held hands once.
Yeah. So just the two of them on the crusade trying to take down Michael in the next movie. So I think I was
and the granddaughter.
Yeah, I was speaking to Peter about it before, and he was like, you know, it was a setup for those two to be the heroes of the next one or whatever. But I don't know. I love Laurie. I just wanted to be. I would have taken anything over. I would have taken, even if Laurie got sidelined, I would have taken like maybe Allison making more of a role than the collective town being the ones running or going after Michael or fearing him or whatever. Just too many people trying to be. It felt like there was 4 or 5 heroes that were just because they were from the first one. I don't know. It might work for some people. It didn't. Just frustrated me, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you want to discuss about this film?
Yeah, the ending with Judy.
The ending? That's true.
Like I said, the ending.
Judy Greer.
Just getting absolutely like wasted, which I guess is a good kind of catalyst or motivation for Laurie in Halloween Ends. But I felt like they could have had that scene maybe without the Michael gets circled in a mosh pit, or, you know, they could have had that circled in the mosh pit, then ended it without him slaying everybody, and then maybe had the next, you know, the Karen death at the start of the first one, or just the Karen death to kind of, oh shit, we know.
Yeah, or she just dies. You never see the killer, or like a number of different ways you could have done it. Like, yeah, and you made Michael look like invincible at this point. It's like, he got stabbed multiple times, smashed in the head, stabbed with a knife, shot several times. It's like, do you think they're going to explain any of it, or is it just going to be like?
Nah, he just shrugs it off. He
shrugs it off.
He's been at the gym, bro. He's tough to stop. He's an athlete.
That's all he does at the mental institution for the last 40 years.
Just pumping out reps, you know.
Just pumping, yeah.
Pumping iron.
Yeah. So what are you expecting for Halloween Ends?
Definitely. You know, Laurie trying to avenge the death of her daughter Karen, teaming up with Hawkins, and then kind of maybe tracking down Michael. Maybe it's like the day after Halloween, and I guess we have, you know, maybe Michael.
Surely it has to be.
It has to be, right?
Surely it can't be the same night.
It's almost, you know, it's almost 1st of November. But maybe, I don't know, like Michael's at the house now. Is he only visiting the house because of the day, and that's the day's significance, and then he just like, that's it, I'm done, I'm going to disappear? Like, what is his... Does he just go into hibernation or something? Are they tracking him down? Does it take place like he hides and then all of a sudden it's a year later or something? Because
I think that would be an interesting idea if it's like he's been on the run for a year, like hitting towns wherever he's going. It's like murdering people along the way, I guess.
But then is he even hitting towns, or is he just
back home?
Or is he just hiding? Like, yeah, I don't know, doing nothing.
I don't know.
It's bizarre.
Here's a question: what does Michael eat?
Fuck, I don't know. And does he, like, is there a hole for him to eat through the mask, or does he take the mask off? Because when he takes the mask off, it seems to be his superpower, so that's unusual.
I don't know. There's a lot of questions, but I don't know how many answers we're going to get.
No.
But yeah, I can definitely see, you know, again, Laurie, Allison, the granddaughter, who lost everybody close to her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's like Laurie kind of is the legal guardian now, I guess.
You know, like maybe traveling the country, like tracking down Michael. A big, like, you know, big wall with like a bunch of string all over the place, tracking where he's going and that kind of stuff. You know, and then, you know, they're big trap to try and...
When was this filmed? Because I don't know when this was filmed, but yeah, just the mob mentality and the whole kind of all the events that are happening in the US in the last year or so. I felt like it was like so in your face type stuff. It
was filmed 2019, so it was before.
Before that, wow. Predicted the right. There you go.
Predicted, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah.
Just in your face. It was a bit too in the face. Like, yeah, I don't know. But we'll see. I'm happy to see Halloween ends. Like, you know, I could be eating my words if this sets up for a third one.
They all come together.
All come together nicely with a little bow.
Okay. Does Laurie die in the next film, though?
Yes, she dies, taking out Michael.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
And then the credits roll, and then after credits, Michael's eyes open. That's what it would be if it was like a late 90s remake or an 80s movie.
Yeah, alright. Well, let us know what you thought of Halloween Kills by letting us know at BuddyWatson12 on Twitter or ExplosionNetwork.com/Twitter, or you can follow Buddy's podcast, Radio Watson, on Twitter at Radio Watson _, or jump into Discord at ExplosionNetwork.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Twitter, Apple Podcasts, or on Podchaser, or tell people about the show, or check out Radio Watson, like I said. And if you like this episode, thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at ExplosionNetwork.com/support and buy us a coffee. Buddy, thank you very much for joining us.
No worries.
Thank you, listeners, for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.